Good evening and welcome to the Spalding County Board of Commissioners August 18th extraordinary meeting. I would ask that you please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices. At this time, I would ask Commissioner Reginald Watts from District 3 to deliver the invocation and Commissioner Ryan Bolden from District 4 to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we come to you today with grateful hearts. Lord, we're just asking right now for your presence as we make decisions on behalf of your people, God. Lord, just give them understanding that we're trying to make the best of decisions for this community. It is in the powerful name of Jesus your people have prayed. Amen, amen, amen.
If you would please join me in pledge allegiance to our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 4, presentation of financial statement. At this time, I would like to recognize Deputy County Manager Erica Dye to present the financial statements. Ms. Dye?
Good evening, Commissioners and fellow citizens. I have somebody with me tonight. It is my pleasure to introduce Miss Jamie Tarleton, our new Assistant Finance Director for Spalding County. Jamie brings us a wealth of experience and dedication to public service, having previously served as Finance Director for Meriwether County. Her background also includes many years in the banking industry in Griffin, where she developed a strong foundation in financial management and community engagement. Jamie's roots run deep within Spalding County, and we are proud to welcome her back home. Her knowledge, leadership, and commitment to excellence make her a value addition to our team. Please join me in welcoming Jamie to Spalding County.
Welcome,
You
Jamie.
want to say anything?
Thank you for that awesome introduction, Erica. Hello, Commissioners. First off, I just want to say how incredibly blessed I am for having the opportunity to come and work back, like as Erica said, in my hometown. I'm a Spalding County native, so it's wonderful to be home. I'm also very blessed to have the opportunity to work with County Manager Dr. Ledbetter, as well as Deputy County Manager Erica Dye. They have been great leaders, and I look forward to working with them and becoming part of a team. Looking forward to great things for Spalding County, and I'm here for you guys, and we hope to bring excellence, continuing for the county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
All right, now for the financial statements. The upcoming presentation is going to summarize the financial activities for fiscal year 2026 as of July 31st, covering our revenue collections, expenditures, and encumbrances for the general fund and the fire fund budgets. 1 month has passed in the present fiscal year, which accounts for 8.33% of the budget. Our revenues are below expectations, reaching only 41% of the budget amounts, while our expenditures have exceeded both our actual and expected revenues, resulting in a deficit. Please note, this deficit is common at the beginning of the fiscal year, as property tax collections are typically low in July, leading to reduced revenue inflows. Next slide, please. For the fire fund, the fire district revenues are $33,798, which is 0.3% of the budget. The fire district expenditures are at $7.9 million, but the encumbrances are the $6.7 million, which account for 62.7% of the budget. And please note that the 6.7 and the encumbrances are the fire trucks that we have on order.
Yes.
Next slide, please. The previous one. The previous one, please.
Keep going forward.
Go back.
Use your up arrow, please.
Bear with us just a minute, please.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. The chart you see on the screen shows the cumulative revenues of 2.5 million and expenditures are at 7.2 million for the first month of fiscal year 2026. So far, our revenues have reached 41% of the budgeted amount. Spending has exceeded our revenues, as I previously stated, creating a slight deficit. Again, the deficit is common at the beginning of the fiscal year. As you all know, our property taxes are usually aren't received until December or January. Next slide. Oh, that's the right one. Stay right there. For our revenues, the county has collected 1.4 million in taxes, representing 56.1% of the total revenue. These taxes include real property tax, interest and penalties on real and personal property, public utility tax, motor vehicle tax, ad valorem tax, title fees for personal property, and also our local option sales tax. Miscellaneous revenue is $327,000 or 12.7%, including income from resource officers from the CI, Sheriff Department inmate phone commissions, inmate store commissions, CI detail reimbursements, motor coach trips, and sale of surplus property and equipment, and also spay and neuter fees. The county collected $298,000 in charges for services, which account for 11.6% of the total. This amount includes various fees from the probate and magistrate courts, adult probation and supervision fees, inmate housing costs, medical and closing reimbursements from both the CI and the Sheriff's Office, as well as revenue from animal control, recreation fees, and scrap iron sales. License and permits, which includes our business, alcohol, building, sewer inspection, zoning, and subdivision, marriage, and pistol license and permits account for $279,000 or 10.8% of budget. Fines and forfeitures generated $169,000 or 6.6% of total revenue. These fees are from superior, magistrate, clerk of court fees, our victim assistance, and drug abuse court fines. Intergovernmental revenues totaled $32,000, comprising of 1.2% of total reported revenue. These revenues are from local, state, and federal sources, including real estate transfer tax, COPS grant, our performance partnership award, VOCA grants, and other grants. Income investment accounts account for $26,000 in revenue, or 1%, and for contributions and donations account for $1,400, or 0.01%. Next slide. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, on that, the previous one that was a fine and forfeitures at $168,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that include the 5 phase? Are we collecting revenue?
Yes, ma'am, we do. We do collect funds from 5As.
And what percentage of that do you think that is?
Let me see if I have that detail. If not, I'll be happy to provide it for you tomorrow.
Are we actually collecting on the 5As, or is that just the value that's going up on the 5A that we only collect once it's sold or whatever? Right, so it's like, it's an accounting level going up. We're not
We have a
getting-
5A revenue line that is
It is.
reported monthly. I'll get that information to you first thing tomorrow. I don't have the details.
Accountants think of money different.
Yes.
It is a budget line item. Yes, sir.
But it's not like somebody's handing us cash for these 5As, like as they go up, where it's just the value that as it increases with the interest that we get on the back.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
I thought we were collecting 5 phase.
not until they actually sell it, whatever the pays
That's
off.
correct, not until they sell.
Not until they sell it. That's right.
It's like a lien that goes in the house that goes up with interest, but they don't get paid until it.
I must misunderstood that because, not this sheriff, but
Thank you.
when Sheriff Stewart was here, he had asked us to hire more deputies to be in that, I guess it's a warrants division or whatever, so they could serve these 5As because we weren't making collections on them. And then he also projected that there was X amount of money that we were leaving on the table. So I had the impression that there was actual cash. So I'm really hearing something different. You're saying that 5As are not money? Because that's the way we budgeted for that.
It is,
Then.
it is money, but
It
when
is
they
money.
sell. So it's booked as a budget item, and then as it comes to fruition, that's when we,
So the
receive
5A
funds.
is only associated with a piece of property?
Correct.
Okay. like real estate.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
But I'll provide you those details tomorrow for the whole entire fiscal year 25 if you would like.
Okay.
So now we move on to the expenditures. For the employees' salaries and benefits for July, it accounts for 57% or $4.1 million of the total expenditures. The expenditures for purchases and contractual services, which includes our radio and computer equipment and software, office equipment maintenance, travel expenses, legal dues, and subscriptions, our education and training costs amount to 30.3% of the total expenditures, or $2.1 million. Other costs account for 9.4%, or $680,000. This includes our various part repairs and supplies reimbursement, T-Splosh paving and sidewalk reimbursements, our Cigna flexible spending account, the street lights, and also the GSDA, the airport, our forestry service, the public training center, the Griffin Spalding archives, and the library. For supplies, which include our departmental supplies, utilities, uniforms, fuel, and small equipment account for 1.9%, or $134,000 of our total expenditures for July. Debt service, which includes our enterprise, principal and interest, and other principal and interest on several different pieces of equipment, accounts for 1.3%, or $96,000. Capital outlay accounts for 0.1% for July, or $8,815, which includes supplies and materials for playgrounds and walking trails. Next slide, please. And lastly, the bank balances as of July 31st. The Truist bank account, the Truist operating checking account, showed strong financial resilience and effective flow management during July 2025. The account has began with a healthy balance of $28.2 million, with expected fluctuations in line with the county's revenue and expenditure cycles. Overall, the data indicates a well-managed operating account, and strategic timing of revenue inflows and controlled expenditures contribute to a strong financial position as of July 31st. The total balance for all accounts is $55.1 million across the board for all of our checking and investment accounts. I would be happy and answer any of your questions you may have.
What is the Park and Rec certification account at the Truist Bank?
That is an account that's dedicated to leisure services that they utilize.
Or
Kelly?
Step to the mic, please.
To the mic. Kelly, so they can hear you.
The certification count is athletic related and tournament related.
so, but what is it spent on? It says certification for who?
For coaches,
Okay.
National Youth Sports Association.
So we pay for them to be certified.
It's a flow through. So we collect their funds and then, it is a wash. Yeah.
Okay, but I guess, so that money stays there all the time?
It does.
Okay, that's what I just need to understand, like, how is it a wash if you have a balance?
Well, and if you notice, if you see on the screen, you'll see on that particular line item, it really hasn't fluctuated at all for 24 or 25. It was slightly decreased in 23, but after that, it remained the same.
Okay.
One of the issues we always try to work on is how many days of operating expense we have. How many days of operating expense, order of magnitude?
Well, currently in our fund balance, we have approximately $18 million, which is about 93 days, I believe.
Right answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of our objectives is to keep 90 days in
Yes,
the
sir.
balance all the time.
Yes,
After
sir.
we've had tornadoes, we know how important it is to be able to have that money there to be able to do something with. So,
And that's
okay.
exactly what staff is trying to achieve.
And getting it done. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you, Erica.
Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item number 5, citizen comments. Speakers must sign up prior to the meeting and provide their names, addresses, and the topics they wish to discuss. Speakers must direct your comments to the board and not to individual members or the audience. Personal disagreements with individual members or county employees are not a matter of public concern, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. The chairman has the right to limit your comments in the interest of disposing of the county's business in an efficient and respectful manner. Speakers will be allocated 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertaining to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No questions will be asked by any of the board members during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speakers will be permitted to speak more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend the rule. So everybody that, in case the clock up there shows 3 minutes, and you'll be able to see it from when you speak up there, to be able to do that. And please ask the audience to not try to get involved in any of the discussions. At this time, County Manager, do we have some people who have signed up?
Yes, sir, we do. Robin Allgood, if you would, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Robin Allgood, 845 Grant Road, Brooks. On July 30th, while taking 2 stray dogs to animal care and control, I was told by the director there is a trapping policy. I asked for a copy of the policy that day, and the director said she would get me a copy. She knew how to get in touch with me. After a few days, I realized the director had no intention in sending me the policy. On August 5th, I filed an open record request for the trapping policy. To this day, I still have not received the policy. The Georgia Open Records Act mandates that a government entity respond to a request within 3 business days. The initial response should acknowledge receipt of the request and include the record or a timeline for release. I received a reply, but it only included a security key and reference number for my request. 3 days is the law. Today is the 9th business day, and I still have nothing. Could it be there was no policy in effect that day, and that's why I haven't received it? The shelter continues to turn away strays. A pregnant mama due any day with puppies was refused intake last week. I do not understand how you can sit and allow this to happen. That dog is adding to the homeless animal population, not to mention how dangerous it is for the dog to give birth on the streets. Luckily, a foster was found, and once again, a rescue bailed out the animal shelter. I received a text message this morning from a Spalding citizen, and I quote from her text message. Found a dog in Griffin near my mom's house. Took it to animal control to be scanned, no chip. Of course they wouldn't take her, but would have an officer come out to evaluate her. I'm like, can't they do that now? She's right here. No. I said I have no way to contain her. I'm working at a house that I found her at. Told me maybe I could find someone to hold her. Seriously, not surprised though. End of quote. This is one example of what the citizens of this county are being told. It's not the citizens' responsibility to hold dogs. Most people have nowhere to hold a stray, and they should not be asked to do so. Someone needs to figure out how to get these dogs off the streets. Other counties are doing it, and there's no reason Spalding can't do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Grant Goforth.
Grant Goforth, 122 Woodlands Drive in Jackson. I would like to bring several serious concerns to your attention regarding the conditions and management of animal control shelter. First, in the last meeting, I heard that there were dogs that remained in the shelter for an unreasonably long period of time. The 3 longest dogs were part of a criminal case to begin with, but immediately released for adoption or released within a week of their intake. Despite this, they remain in the shelter in prolonged confinement without just cause. Is it acceptable for this? We are unnecessarily holding these animals, and the dogs in question, 3 of them are over there for over 700 days, 2 of them for over 600 days, and 9 more for over a year. Is that acceptable? Is this the goal, to house animals indefinitely? Second, several dogs are in the shelter are heartworm positive, not being treated. Heartworms will kill a dog 100% of the time when untreated. Okay? Is this inhumane? You have to answer that one. There's also a 14-year-old dog currently housed in the facility that is mostly blind, mostly immobile, and struggling to survive. It was intaked in fall of 2024. Why is it still there? We must reflect on our purpose. You have heard from rescues. You have heard from volunteers. You have heard from veterinarians. You have heard from community members. We all have one goal: to improve animal welfare in Spalding County. That's why we continue to show up. That's why we continue to bring these issues forward. Examples continue to surface. Just last week, which you'll hear about again, 3 kittens were left in a box and they were refused into animal control. What was the expectation? Were they going to die of heat exposure, starvation, dehydration, disease? Your choice. The principle remains the same. Yes, I talked about dogs in the shelter that had been there for a long time, but it's also these cats, right? We hold animals in the shelter too long. Why? So we can leave the dogs on the streets. To do what? Die painful deaths, terrorize private citizens, spread disease. In addition, there are ongoing issues with record keeping and transparency. There are a couple dogs that are in the shelter but not on the website. How do we expect to rehome these dogs? How do we expect to reunite them with their families? How do we expect them to be adopted when they're not even publicly posted? There's a new rescue founded in Spalding County, but they have neglected to reach out. Why? Because of the inadequate welfare standards, because of the perceived neglect, because of the lack of care. Is this a sign that we're going in the right direction? I don't think so. We could say the same thing about vets. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant.
County manager, there's specific laws and county ordinances about the intake of animals and what care they have to get. They all have to retrieve heartworm medication, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And we're currently in compliance with those state laws. So there are no animals that aren't treated for heartworms at our shelter.
That's correct.
Okay, just making sure that we're still and always have been in compliance with all state laws.
Thank you.
Just making sure.
Heather, go forth.
Heather Goforth, 122 Woodlands Drive. For the duration of the speech, Spalding County Animal Care and Control will be referred to as AC. On July 30, 2025, a friendly, healthy stray dog was immediately euthanized at intake without a legal stray hold under orders of AC management. This was documented with video, audio recordings, and witnesses. Destruction of this dog without a 5-day hold first violates Spalding Ordinances Section 12-1015. On July 30, 2025, another friendly, healthy stray dog with a collar was ordered for immediate euthanasia at intake without a legal stray hold under orders of AC management. This is documented with video, audio recordings, and witnesses. This also violates Spalding Ordinances Section 12-1015. On July 30, 2025, AC Management ordered their officer to leave the off-site premise and abandon a dog AC claimed legal ownership of. No property owner, tenant, or citizen gave permission for such. On the contrary, they stated the dog cannot be left, nor could they care for AC's dog for any amount of time. This is documented with video, audio recordings, and witnesses. Animal abandonment is a violation of both Spalding Ordinances Section 12-002 and Georgia Code Section 4-11-15.1. On July 30, 2025, AC told a citizen that anyone trapping dogs must get prior approval in writing first from AC. This is documented with video, audio recordings, and witnesses. This is not a policy or like that was made at a meeting open to the public or found in any publicly available source, violating Georgia Code Section 50-14-1. On a regular occasion, including today, August 18, 2025, AC is denying stray dogs roaming at large being brought into the AC shelter by citizens. This is documented by audio recordings and video, witnesses, signage on AC's front door. Refusing stray dogs roaming at large that are delivered to the shelter by citizens violates Spalding Ordinances Section 12-1015. Heart disease is a progressive, fatal, if left untreated disease. As of August 5th, 2025, roughly 65% of AC's dog population had 3-digit length of stay days. The majority had not been tested for heartworms. AC neglecting to threat and treat
neglecting to test and treat if positive. Meanwhile, holding dogs for as long as 2 years with worsening infections is inhumane. Riker is a known heartworm positive dog with an intake date of August 20th, 2024. As of August 5th, 2025, he had not received treatment despite AC known for nearly a year. Bella is also a known heartworm positive dog with an intake date of July 19th, 2024. As of August 5th, 2025, she had not received treatment despite AC known for over a year. Jackie has a growing mass with intake date of December 16th, 2024. As of August 5th, 2025, the mass continued to worsen daily, and AC had not taken further actions to address it. All of these things are documented by means of AC records, vet records, video audio recording, and witnesses. Failing to provide adequate necessary veterinary services are violations of Georgia Code Section 4-11-9.3. The actions or neglectfulness causing physical pain and suffering also violates Georgia Rule 40-13-13-.01.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Rachel Sims.
Good evening, Rachel Sims, 239 Valley Hill Road, Griffin, Georgia. We are here again today to raise the same urgent concern. Strays are being denied by animal control. The reality is that only 1 out of 10 dogs born and just 1 out of 12 cats born will ever find a forever home. That means for every litter, perhaps only 1 animal has a real chance, while the rest are left to roam, reproduce, and become part of a growing public safety issue. This isn't just an animal welfare problem, it's a community responsibility. Every time we look the other way, the risk increases. More loose animals on the streets, more chances for attacks, accidents, and preventable tragedies. If we want to protect both our citizens and our animals, we must act now. That means enforcing stronger spay and neuter laws, funding accessible, low-cost veterinarian care, and ensuring animal control serves its intended purpose, to protect the public by taking in strays instead of turning them away. At the last meeting, someone rightly asked if there isn't a way for both sides to come together and find common ground for Spalding County. The truth is that responsibility falls on leadership. We are urging you to take that step, bring people together, open the conversation, and commit to real solutions. The future of this community and its safety depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Michael Renew.
Hello, I'm Michael Renew, live at 500 Airdrome Way, Griffin, Georgia. Here we are again, 3rd month, same soup, different bowl. I'm not going to address anything I've heard today. I'll let all y'all talk to the director about anything they've brought up. I hear a lot of half-truths, so y'all can take care of that up with her. So what's been accomplished by this group so far? They've seemingly, we've had 2 employees leave because of the drama. They are continuously picking up dogs, bringing them to the shelter, knowing the outcome, purposely. And in return, they make the shelter look bad, pat themselves on the back for looking good. Now, that said, it is very appreciated that they are helping animals of Spalding County and finding places for them to live. Something that was left out. Yes, there was a second pregnant dog that was found, but the first dog with puppies was brought in. And then they went out and found this one, came back again, and so the course continues. What else I got down here? They're even pitting shelter against shelter now. They were online thinking, I believe it was Fayette County Shelter for taking in the kittens because Spalding County would not. They don't know the whole story behind why they would not. They need to get that information as well. Again, y'all can talk to the director about that. We obviously don't seem to be going to be playing on the same team, even though we have the same goals of saving animals, or at least that seems to be the objective, is to save as many animals as possible. This board has already made statements to the public where you stand, how you stand, and what you support. Unfortunately, the people here today and others that have come before them do not agree with you, and that's where we stand. It's become basically a battle of egos and prides, battle of opinions and suggestions. So, yes, they are correct on one thing. This board, our director, and everybody up here are the leaders. And I hope y'all continue to lead as you are and continue supporting our shelter as you are. Do I see us coming together anytime soon? No. Do I see them to continually drag our shelter and names through the mud? Yes. It needs to stop. Do what you do. Save the animals. Use your resources. Save the animals. But at the same time, don't slap us in the face and say we're doing a bad job. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Mr. Chair, that's all who have signed up this evening.
Thank you. Item number 6, old business. First up under old business this evening is for us to consider a recommendation from Parks and Leisure Service Advisory Commission regarding adding contracted security for recreational sports.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to revisit this with you. Since my last time here, which was the last meeting, I've taken the opportunity of that time to create a loaded resource schedule that will enable us to work through all the many layers of security services for recreation. As you know, the Parks and Leisure Services Advisory Commission met last Thursday, and they were presented with a baseline of services. This baseline of services of very minimal security offerings at our centers. So this version actually shows no armed deputy at our community centers. That would be removing those, and then having unarmed officers at all of our recreation programs throughout the year. When this was presented to the advisory commission, they immediately went into the thought that they believe that we need to have some armed services at our facilities and at our events. We had an incident at Fairmont whereby there was a fight taking place. It was starting outside of the community center. There was no one there, no deputy, no law enforcement, and the staff was not injured, but it could have easily happened that he could have been overtaken and overcome by the fight. So with that, they discussed the value of having armed deputies on site. So with that, after a long deliberation at the PLAC meeting, they settled on what we originally had presented, and that is a hybrid type response to provide security services. We had met with the Sheriff's Department, and they are in agreement. They understand how important their presence is, and the respect that they have in this community and controlling areas. And so what I did is I went back into that schedule and implemented a hybrid. The hybrid includes maintaining a deputy at our community centers. The advisory commission also wanted to add an additional staff person, because right now we have one staff person at community centers at night, and they did not want us to operate in that manner. We added armed officers at each venue during sports seasons, and with that, I know it's hard for everyone to see that. Thank you. So this version offers both deputies, armed deputies, and safety officers. Now, mind you, safety officers are unarmed, and they are contracted with the security company. So with that, our total, we would have 2,695 hours of overtime, to pay the deputies with at $41.32 an hour. Our contract would be 1,045.5 hours at $39 an hour. And leisure services salaries would be 1,664 hours at $16.50. So the total for those would be $179,587.90. This is a multi-layered conversation, I can tell you, and Commissioner Flowers Taylor can tell you it was a very lengthy, consumed discussion in Advisory Commission, and they agree that this hybrid type situation would solve many of our concerns for safety and security.
Why don't we just save ourselves some money and, instead of paying somebody $39 an hour as a security guard, why don't we just hire some employees and pay them $25 an hour? And, cause that's all they can do is observe and report. They can't do anything. That's all they can do. They ain't no different than anybody else. The grandmama, granddaddy there calling 911. Does it make sense? That's just a waste of money in my eyes.
So the security, safety officers are uniformed, they have a marked vehicle, they have a body camera on, they are trained in
Does the vehicle just
multiple
say security
areas.
on it?
I'm sorry?
It just says security on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That don't, wow, ooh, that scares me.
Yeah,
It'll make
yeah.
me not do anything wrong.
Paid security theater, I think, is a bad idea. Having been a professional sports official, starting here in Spalding County when I was 15 and going all the way until I went to law school, baseball, softball, basketball, football, rec, high school, college, even professional. I can't imagine going out there if there wasn't, especially here in Spalding County, and I hate to say that, but I've been out there when parents and fans got in bat fights at Ambooks. I've been out there when all kinds of shenanigans took place, and I can't imagine a security guard with a black polo on is going to stop any of that. And all that happened when there were on-duty sheriff's deputies. Imagine what would have happened if there wasn't. So to me, I just think this is, I like the idea of having more, like Ryan said, just sort of employees out there to sort of keep an eye on stuff, so that we could probably shave costs by having, utilizing less deputies, but with more employees to better coordinate those deputies that are more expensive. But just switching over to rent-a-cops, it's a no for me. It's a no for me.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I can share, the videotape of the employee that was in the middle of the affray clearly showed that he was concerned by someone, but he was in the building by himself. And we do have a policy that, we're not to get involved, and we should try to call the police. But anyone's natural tendency, if you see someone getting beat up and they're in front of your job, is to try to help. Should he have gone outside of the building and been injured, there would have been absolutely no one there to protect the county property. Every single time that I go to Spalding Wellstar, the first thing that happens when you go in the emergency room is that there's a security guard at the door. That guard at the door does not have a weapon. One or the other of them may or may not, but they don't. You will not get into that emergency room unless you open your pocketbook, because that is their policy. You show them what's inside, and you sign your name. They are there as a deterrent. They're not there to necessarily police. They're there by the hospital to protect the people that are already inside of there. So I hear what James is saying, and I also hear what Ryan is saying. And I know that after the Ahmaud Arbery incident, that Governor Kemp passed a law in 2021 that says there is no more citizens arrest. And I totally agree with that. But what we need, in my opinion, is that we need a deterrent. That's the same way that the city of Griffin used to park police cars in places that they thought crimes happened, and there was nobody in the car, and it worked as a deterrent. If you're gonna break the law, you're gonna break the law anyway. We just need someone to protect the people who are there, to get them secure, and someone to call the police. If we're in the city of Griffin officers work through a zone in the city. There is never an officer that is more than 2 minutes away from somewhere within the city limits in their zone. So it makes no sense to me for us to have armed guards at Fairmont unless there is some other activity. Now Fairmont, I take that back. Maybe City Park, because Fairmont has a history of violent activities. Much different than the park on Quilley Street, much different than the quarry. So much different than pickleball court at Wyoming Matthias Park. So there has to be security. We are aware that we have been putting our employees in jeopardy and their safety in jeopardy. As a board, we are responsible. We have a responsibility to address this because it has hit us straight in the face. So the issue with having more employees and not having one person working in a county building where other people are, it's a must, whatever that is. My concern with having armed officers is that it appears that the only way that we can do that is to hire local law enforcement. And part of the problem has been with Parks and Rec is that the attendance rate is very low. I had an event over there 2 weeks on a Saturday. The officer that was on duty was not there. 2 days later during the week, there was a report that the officer at Fairmont didn't show up. The day that the employee was hurt, the officer didn't show up. I'm not mad at them about showing up because it's an elective job for them. Their job, to me, is to protect the community at large. Not to go to everybody's personal recreational event or personal activity and babysit folks for them. So if what we're looking for is to create a deterrent and have someone who is responsible to call law enforcement if it appears to be a problem, then all we need is a security guard. We need someone to help our folks back up. We don't need them feeling like it's okay for them to jump into the middle of a fight. We need better training for them to know and be able to assess when far as I'm concerned, if you see somebody starting it up, I'm like, call the police. Because you don't know what it's going to turn out to be. Everybody has a gun. So I'm not so all fired happy about having armed officers, because if the police have a gun and everybody else walking around with a gun, anybody in the interim is going to get injured. So I'm all opposed to people walking around with a gun. I think that we need to be very intentional about what it is that we're trying to do. We are not trying to arrest anyone. I don't think that's our job. All we're there to do is to notify the police, create a deterrent, if that means having the vehicle parked out front, or I don't know what it is that the officers do. At the hospital, there's a checkpoint that you got to hit every hour. You got to be at the door by the pharmacy. You got to be at the baby ward. So I don't know how that would work in those terms, but I think there needs to be something that will better direct us and let us know that our property is being looked after. So hybrid, yes, I'm not for having armed officers. I know that that's what Leisure Services Board recommended, but the Leisure Services Board made that recommendation based on not considering any money. And the exact words were, this is not our responsibility. It's up to y'all. It's up to us to figure out how we take care of this liability. So one of the things that the chairman said to us earlier, we know we need to do something. If this doesn't work, nothing is sealed in cement. We need to start somewhere. This is not something that can be kicked down the road, because every day we have people coming to work and there's one person in the building. That gentleman at Fairmont is a pretty big guy, used to play football. But we had Little Miss Peaches down in Ambucks closing the building at night. Now, I think maybe or maybe not, there may have been an officer out there,
It was.
but that's not the presence. You know, somebody needs to be in the building with them, and so hence the other employees. I would certainly prefer to pay someone $18 or $20 an hour as a part-time person than to pay another 40 or whatever dollars for a security person. But we have to have the extra people. There's just no way. Luckily for us, we can afford to hire them as part-time and not have to be burdened with the, 401k and all those things that go along with the benefits. But I just think that I can't look at, when there's something that happens like this at Leisure Services or any board that I serve on, I know that when I get back to this seat, I have to put on a hat as a commissioner. When I'm at Leisure Services, I'm all Leisure Services, and I'm not gonna butt up against them saying, no, you can't do that, because I know it's gonna end up in our lap. But we have to do the prudent thing, and we have to do the thing that will provide us the most security and the most safety. And I just don't think bringing guns to the table is one of those things. I don't think it's a deterrent, because everybody is out here with one. And Ryan is absolutely right. If he's sitting there doing something and somebody asks him to leave and he doesn't, you shouldn't be putting your hands on him. You should be calling the police and saying such and such spit on somebody at the ball game. He's wearing a blue cap that's got Bo Wild on it, and his tag number is XYZ. That's all we need. I mean, if we need more than that, then that's another conversation. But I think that we need to make some initial moves to provide new people there, additional staff there to cover, and then we need to have a presence there that the community is aware of. So my recommendation is no guns.
Okay.
Again, y'all know that I'm about as pro Second Amendment as one can possibly be. I think we should be able to own cruise missiles if we want them. But George Washington said the only way to protect a civilization from guns is to equip everyone in that civilization with one. I feel safer knowing that our wonderful sheriff's department has guns and they're there and they're trained to use them if they need to. That said, I don't know of an incident, and I could be wrong. I don't have the data in front of me that anyone from the sheriff's department has ever had to shoot somebody at a game. I do know that when the sheriff's deputies come on a field and go, "Y'all knock it off," the bat fights end. The fist fights end. The carrying on, hoot and hollering ends. And I feel very confident that the citizens of Spalding County expect that from our sheriff's department, and will continue to feel safe if our deputies are there. I've had people inside the city of Griffin tell me, "Oh, it used to not be safe, but now the sheriff's enforcing the law inside the city as well. We don't hear gunshots at night. We feel safe now." Again, that just gives me such an immense amount of pride to know that we have such wonderful, wonderful sheriff's department. I think the other aspect that we're missing on this though is that this money that we're spending goes to our deputies. These guys are doing this as sort of, part-time extra jobs. And so if we start hiring rent-a-cops instead of our own officers, that's less money in our officers' pockets that they can take home to their families here in our community. And it's going to give them even more incentive to go and get that higher paying, more risky job in Atlanta, in Clayton County, somewhere else. So again, I think there's some indirect cost to us saving money in some way here. Again, I think there might be a way to redeploy and have more employees so that we can save the taxpayers money, but that cost savings shouldn't be done at the expense of our sheriff's deputies, to say nothing of the security of the people attending these parks. So again, I see some positives of saving the money. I just don't think that this is the way to do it. And other than a small savings in these seasons, the negatives here for me far outweigh the good.
Mr. Chairman, if I can address some of the things that Commissioner Dunn just said. It is not a perk for a deputy sheriff to have a part-time job. Because when a deputy sheriff works an extra job for us, and you know, I'm not gonna say how much I love the sheriff. I'll let you do that. The sheriff already know how I feel about him and how I feel about all of them. But this 4132 that we're paying is if we were paying an hourly officer. Generally, when our sheriffs are working, that is counted as overtime. So this number is gonna be time and a half. So what you're getting instead of 4132. No, if I'm wrong, you tell me.
The 4132 is the average overtime pay.
So Kelly, why would we a pay a security officer $39 an hour, and you're saying that our deputies only make $24 an hour, and so that's what their overtime pay is going to be 40?
Their overtime, their average overtime pay is 4132 an hour. So I'm not sure what each is paid per hour for their
Okay, well,
regular.
that, for me, that makes a difference, because if you're someone with 20 years tenure and you're working for us part-time, then that's time and a half. I don't care what you say. That's more money. But we don't allow the people at Public Works to take their truck home and go and pick up stuff with it at night. Our deputies are making extra money to help their families, but the county is really not benefiting from it because we're benefiting from it, but we're paying them to do that, the same as we would pay anybody else. I love the fact that that would work, but you know as well as I do, our experience hasn't been one of success. We have had more days where we didn't have the help that we needed when we needed it than when we did. So the point of saying I would love to have our deputies to be able to provide that, you know, armed security, because that's what they are. But I need them to be there when they are supposed to be there, because if the deputy had been there the other night, Mr. X would not have been caught up in the middle of a fight. I'm not saying it's their job to do that. They elect to do that. But we don't give everybody else the opportunity to go and take their, whatever it is that they work with every day, and go and make extra money. So I take offense when you say, I think this is a good way for our deputies to earn extra money, because the people at Public Works are not getting to earn extra money. The people at Rec Services are not being able to earn extra money for the jobs that they do. So we're picking and choosing. I think at this point, when I came here 20 years ago, our deputies and most of our employees were well underpaid. I think Ryan may have been working here, and he can tell you they were working for pennies. But we're at a place right now, and thanks to some of the stuff that the sheriff did during COVID that others weren't able to do, our staff is well paid. Our law enforcement officers are well paid. I don't think, in general, we need to provide perks to them via a way to make extra money and use county resources to do it. That's not fair. It's not fair to the rest of the people that work here, that we're making an exception for them. And I challenge you to find me any other occupation that we have where we're giving other people those same gratuities that we want to give deputy sheriffs. So, you know, there has to be an answer. If we have to have armed guards, it needs to be a contract that guarantees us that service. If through having sheriff's deputies or City of Griffin police officers, we cannot get that, this will not work. This will not work. I've been here all of this time, and I've seen it, and I've heard it, and trust me, I don't know, maybe over in the neighborhood where you live, but if the sheriff come on the scene in the neighborhood where I live, everybody gonna have to get in the police car, because the sheriff showing up on the scene is not gonna make everybody stop doing what they're doing. Now, Officer Sutton was at our meeting the other night, and I think that he has worked as a resource officer, and he shared with us, when people get heated up, they ain't trying to hear you. They know the police is there, but everybody fussing, and everybody who says something is getting charged for being in an affray because everybody mad. So you can't count on the fact that having somebody there with a law enforcement uniform on is gonna make them, oh my God, that's the sheriff's department. That ain't how it works. It may work in some places, but the places where folks is showing out is where it's not working. So I mean, I'm not sure what the answer is, but I don't want the answer to be that we're choosing to do sheriff's deputies or City of Griffin police officers because we want to help people get some extra money. That's not what our focus needs to be on up here. Our
Okay.
focus needs to be on providing safety, providing security, and making sure that it's there whenever we need it, which is every day.
May I share a couple of challenges?
Okay.
Just so that you have a full understanding. Some of the challenges we've had over the past is not having enough deputies interested in this kind of extra work. The other challenge is other outside duties pay as much as $50 to $60 an hour. That's more appealing than the $41.32 overtime rate. The other thing is large venues. We have large venues like we'll play at Memorial Stadium or at Volunteer Park, where in the past we could have one deputy who would work. No longer will one deputy work a large venue. So we're looking at, say, for example, Memorial Stadium having 5 zones. That situation would be more appealing for a deputy to work because they're not taking on all the risk themselves. If you are interested in all armed, the cost for armed officers with a contracted company is $45 an hour, when a local deputy would be $41.25. So those are some things for you to consider.
Okay. Commissioner Watts?
Yeah, I say our number one priority needs to be the safety of our employees, and it's unacceptable for one person to be out there, because one thing about it, if anything happens, I mean, you can't put a dollar on somebody's life. And so that's my concern. And whatever it is to get people out there to make sure our employees safe, that's what I'm with.
Okay. I hate to put the sheriff on the spot. I'm glad he's here, and I thank him for coming. But if he would please give us some of his thoughts, please.
Yeah, I did some checking. The 2 nights that we didn't have a deputy there, one of them was Miss McCrae was on call. She got called out to a child molestation, so she had to leave. The other one, she was called away on another detail and couldn't find anybody to cover for her. So that's why she was not at Fairmont those nights you were speaking of. And speaking with some of my deputies, yeah, they are concerned that many times if they go to some of these recreation activities where there's the potential to be trouble, they may be outnumbered 200 to 1. And that's a real concern. When you get into some of the other sports, football, some of that, it may be even more than that. The issue that I have with private security is that what's going to end up happening is you're going to have some security guard that's going to try to wade into something and try to be macho, and they're going to get the brakes beat off of them, and somebody's going to take their stuff and steal their car, and they're going to find it with a tire slit on it somewhere. I've seen that happen too. They ran through the same thing up in Spalding Heights back when Sheriff Cantrell was sheriff. They went to a private security company up there, and they stole the golf cart the guy was riding around on, and he ended up just quitting, and his company left the contract. It's the deputies themselves, they do it voluntarily. They're not required to do that. I can't make them do that. When you're talking about the people that are doing it, you're talking about people like Ms. McCrae, Michael Chadwick, and those people. And I believe in some instances that their presence does change things just by their presence, because the reputations that they have for being even-minded, fair-tempered, and listening to people, rather than somebody that comes up wearing a security guard shirt, who these people don't know. Like you said, Reggie was a school resource officer, so he knows people and can talk to people. And it's the same way with some of my deputies up there. I think that having a security guard in some of these areas is just going to be a bad idea overall. I just think it's going to be a bad idea. Any of the other questions you were asked or anybody asked, I'll be more than happy to try to listen. And I've got an answer about the 5 phase, by the way, that you were asking about earlier. But for so long, and I'm going to go back even farther than Mr. Dutton, one of the first jobs I ever had was working for the Spalding County Recreation Department as a supervisor out there after I grew up as a rec kid. And I know what it's like to be in a gym at night by yourself, closing up, or being the only person in the gym while they're playing ball games. Miss Connie, God rest her soul, you know, she stayed in the office all the time when all that stuff was going on. And it is a bad situation. Hiring more people to be out there during those events, I think, would be good. More recreation staff to watch those people. So anything?
So yes, the two ladies that you, or the two officers that you talked about having to go away to do some other things, this is part of the concern that I have. They are law enforcement officers 24/7. And if something happens related to their job, they have to leave.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not prepared to leave us uncovered. And that has been the problem. Officer Sutton said, well, you should, if something like that happens, the rec center should call and report them to their, who we gonna call and report them to? They're volunteering. So we can't get a guarantee that our law enforcement will be able to do it, because your job primarily is to provide safety and security in the entire community.
Yes, ma'am.
Community
When they're not on call, there shouldn't be a problem. If they're on call, then they may have to get called out if something occurs. If they're not on call, shouldn't be a problem. And if that officer doesn't show up once, you do like everybody else does. Just don't call them again. Don't put them on the schedule anymore. They're basically fired from doing those part-time jobs.
So you heard that, right, Kelly? Okay. So again, if you are on call, I don't think that it's appropriate for you to take a part-time job where you need to be someplace on the day that you're on call.
I agree with that.
That's allowed.
Yeah,
It is.
it says allowed.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you, Mr.
So,
Ryan.
so I think it would be wonderful if we could work in a relationship in that way. But my whole thing is that we have not had the security that we need, or the security of knowing that we will have somebody there. That is my only concern. I don't care if it's a security guard that's whatever, or if it's a city of Griffin, or if it's your folks. I just need to know that they will be there.
Yeah.
And if you're on call, you could be on call. You got to go to your real job.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
a law enforcement officer. Anything could happen that they may have to get called in. That's the way it was in the military. You had to go. So knowing that, we should not schedule in that way. There should be, you cannot pull this duty if you're on call. And he has stated that if someone comes to work, just like it would be under anybody else, if you don't show up, you've abandoned your job.
Abandoning your job.
So you don't have to call and report them. You just have to not work with them anymore. So, again, I mean, I'm just one person. If the board wants to, I don't know how that will work. If you want all armed officers, there's not enough officers in the sheriff's department to provide that service. You need people during the daytime, you need people during the night, you need people on the weekend.
Well, I
So
think
we're not there yet.
And the thing with the armed security that's not law enforcement that I have a problem is you don't know these people's background. You don't know their training. You don't know their standards. From experience in the past, a lot of them are law enforcement officers that have been fired from other jobs that can't get jobs back in law enforcement, so they go to work for private security companies.
Well, I mean, anybody that we get to come work for us in recreation has to pass all of the background checks associated with children, associated with old people. So there is a vetting process. Am I correct? And I agree with you. Part of the thing that someone suggested was that maybe we can have an armed guard and an unarmed guard. Okay, they're working for two different companies. They should be working for the same company, but you got policies and procedures. Do we say that, okay, if there is an armed guard there, that person is the lead worker? There's lots of things that need to be figured out in that in order for them to be able to work together. Right. So, like I said, I'm glad that you're saying that you have that we have some options in terms of that. And I don't think that the money seems to be negligible if what Kelly is saying is accurate. But we have to be guaranteed that people are going to be there. there's just
Absolutely.
no other way
We
around
do
it.
have a policy for working part-time jobs, and I don't think that that is in there about not taking part-time jobs if you're on call. But that may need to be something that we add to it, because once you work that part-time, it's your responsibility to work that part-time.
All right, one, I think we all agree, we need security, some kind of security to take care of the safety of the people who are in our care. So first, I think that that's an issue that we all agree with. I don't think this document that we're being looked at now is ready for us to approve. So, I don't want to deny it, because then we end up with a whole different thing. So, do I have a motion to table?
Kelly wants to say one other
Oh,
thing,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Chairman.
So we have fall sports. Our fall sports begin in September. I've done the figures. If you change all of the safety officers into deputies, this 179,587, you add 6,252 to it. That's all.
So Kelly,
if
but
we-
you have this schedule coming up. You don't have enough armed deputies to cover
Not at
that.
this time.
Okay, so what would you do if we hadn't decided to do this whole thing? How would you go into this season now? How would you schedule for that? Would you be calling the sheriff's department and saying,
That this event is going on, please cruise by as often as you can.
okay,
And we
but you
do-
wouldn't
we
be
have done
trying
that
to
many
hire,
times.
you wouldn't be trying to hire them to come to work? Because right, what I'm saying right now is if you have a relationship with them and none of this discussion was happening, what kind of security would you provide at football season? What did we do last year?
Oftentimes, we did not have a deputy because one deputy will not work a venue that large.
Okay,
So if we present the idea that more deputies will work in zones like they often do for high school games, maybe not as many because our turnout's not as large, but if the sheriff's department vets all of his people, the
they're
word
the
could,
police.
right,
They
the
don't
word,
got- they already.
the word could get out. They could communicate that they are now having venues with more deputies. They would be more willing to register for this extra detail.
So
I would like to at
again,
least try and go in that direction.
So, but what is it that you just said? You said a bunch. I'm not understanding what you just said. You want to go in which
So
direction?
what I'm saying is, our initial concern was no deputy will work alone in a large venue. So what do? You hire you secure 5 deputies. I would work with Lieutenant Chadwick. He would secure 5 deputies. We could possibly work with City of Griffin officers, secure 5 local law enforcement officers for those 5 zones, and they would come out of our overtime if they're sheriff's deputies, or they would come out of leisure services salaries if they're City of Griffin. We would have to hire them.
So what is this event you're talking about? You're saying at the beginning of the season you have a big event.
We're at football season start right after
No,
Labor
no, no.
Day.
What are you talking about? The 5 zones.
The 5 zones of Memorial Stadium.
Okay, when is it that do you have a game at Memorial Stadium? Is it at the beginning of the season or is it at the end of the season?
It starts early.
I'm asking for a date.
So we have, I have that somewhere.
Because I'm trying to understand, because I thought
We
the
do have
Memorial
specific
Drive.
dates already secured with the league the
So,
municipal league.
so I'm saying, I thought that the Memorial Stadium events happened at the end of the
No,
season.
no, ma'am.
So that's what I'm asking
Yes,
you.
it's
When-
part of regular season play, not
Okay,
just
so we
season
play
and
in,
tournaments.
we play in Memorial Stadium during the regular season.
Because Volunteer Park is going to be a project site, so we are not scheduling any of this fall season at Volunteer Park.
That's right.
Volunteer Park on Quilly Street,
Volunteer Park on,
over at Griffin Southern Crescent. I'm just trying to get my
yes,
bearings.
behind
That's
Home Depot.
Okay,
So,
so,
grass area, grass
so,
issue.
so let's mean you get to the same spot.
Yes.
Okay, so you have 2 events, you're now having multiple events where all of the games are happening
We'll
at Memorial
have
Stadium.
baseball opening, we have, football opening. Those 2 seasons are running at the same time. Then when we get right after those seasons, basketball season, we've got youth and adult. All
So-
of that goes on at the same time.
So instead of playing over at Volunteer Park, all of the stuff is gonna be happening at Memorial Drive,
Memorial
Stadium.
Stadium or Spalding High or Griffin High. And all of those will need zones to make sure the public stays safe.
Okay, I did not understand that that's what you were saying, because I was not
Yes.
aware that there was not gonna be play over at
Yes.
Volunteer. So what you're asking is, for us, is the ability to secure armed law enforcement to get you through the football season, or until we can come up with what it is that we're gonna do, which is what you would have did anyway, since you have changed the venue. Because I was thinking that everybody's still playing where they were playing,
No.
not now. Okay.
All right, so you're at, what we're talking about is 185.
Yes.
No, we're not there yet. I don't think
I
that
agree. I
we're
want to
not
make
there
sure.
yet. What she has already been budgeted $58,000 or $68,000 for security. You need to just work out of that until we can figure out what it is that we're gonna do.
So these costs aren't in their current budget?
No, this is add-on.
So you're asking,
Some of it.
so you're asking for more guards or
About
more
half of
pay
it.
than last year?
This is about $80,000 that we're talking about adding in, that is unbudgeted, that we're gonna put into her budget to be able to do this for the security.
Our overtime budget was cut,
Okay,
which
so
is
that
what
was a
we use
cutback.
to
This
pay
I'm with you.
local law enforcement.
All right, I don't think we have the answers to be able to
No.
approve something tonight.
I think that there's money in your budget for you to use
To start.
your expertise to see, if you have secured some arrangements with, the officers at the sheriff's department in the city of Griffin to contract, and the sheriff has told you what his expectations are, then fine. And if we're able to come up with, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's gonna be more than $60,000. And so we need to pay them well if we want them to show up. And so I don't know that we may look at this number and this number may not be enough. $39 or $42 may not be enough. And so that's what we need to figure out, and what the end number is gonna be. If you get to a place, I think you should be able to manage for a couple of weeks, but we need to drill down and see what the real end number is gonna be.
All right, so let's table the whole action right now. Let her go ahead and use her budget money to start off to be able to do it. Then come back to us and talk about what we want all the way around.
May I ask you, and we can do that, I don't know if we need a motion, what about going ahead and giving them permission to hire the part-time people who need to make sure that there's not just one person? We're gonna do that regardless. They're gonna have to bid the job out, they're gonna have to find people, they're gonna have to interview. And in the meantime, I mean, unless we're planning on just closing the facilities, we still have one person closing the building and staying in the building by themselves.
Do we have a number? Okay.
If you'll give me the opportunity by consensus to work that, I will bring part-time help in between now and the time we can bring that back to you. We can use a part-time, firm to bring part-time people in the interim. We do that regularly.
And I do think that needs to
Yep.
happen pretty quickly.
By consensus, I can do that very quickly, and then we'll bring all of the information back to the board.
I mean, I'd love the idea that the sheriff's department would be able to work with, because accountability will be there that we already know. We just have to make sure that we have guaranteed
And
people.
I appreciate the sheriff stepping forward to be able to talk through this. All right,
So do we need a motion, or do we just need to table?
consensus, he's gonna work the part-time. We just need to take this action and table it to say, bring it back. All right, do I have a motion to
Motion to
table?
table.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion is tabled.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you,
You
Sheriff.
always
Thank you,
show up
Kelly.
just in time.
Next on the agenda is a recommendation from Spalding CSBG Advisory Board appointments. I would ask that Larry Wallace, our grants manager, step forward and share with the Board of Commissioners concerning these appointments. Welcome back, Larry.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Davis, Dr. Ledbetter, Commissioners. Here tonight to request your approval for the appointment of members of the Spalding County Community Service Block Grant Advisory Board. On June 2nd of this year, you approved the resolution establishing the advisory board and adopted the governing bylaws. Federal regulations require this board as a condition of receiving our annual CSBG funds. Following your approval, we initiated a comprehensive public outreach process to recruit qualified applicants. Public notices were posted, applications were made available, and notices were also distributed. In that time, after that meeting, we received 10 applications from interested residents. All of the applications were reviewed by CSBG staff to verify that the candidates met the eligibility requirements outlined in the bylaws. I'll present to you the candidates that were chosen. Low-income representatives, Mrs. Celeste Berry, who resides in Griffin. She meets the federal low-income guidelines. She served on various advisory boards in Clayton County and was also a member of the McIntosh Trail Early Childhood Development Council. Lisa Fambro also resides in Griffin. She regularly serves low-income residents. She is part of the Griffin Housing Authority Ready to Rent. She is their program coordinator. She also serves as an adult advisor for Spalding Youth Advisory Council. The private sector representatives, Maggie Baker is a resident of Griffin, Director of Operations for Veldsma and Sons. She represents the business community. She has been a member of the Fayette Spalding Cooperative. Dr. Marcy Tarbucks Murphy is the founder of the Empowerment Alliance that serves individuals experiencing physical, developmental, and mental health disabilities. She has experience collaborating with community agencies, vocational programs, and service providers focused on housing access and long-term support for underserved populations. Also, there's a recommendation to add Dr. Cheryl Burks, our citizen engagement specialist. These appointments will establish our initial board membership in compliance with the federal requirements. The recommendation for Dr. Burks as our citizen engagement specialist was meant to maximize direct citizen input while ensuring authentic community voices are driving program decisions. The Board of Commissioners still maintains ultimate oversight authority, providing elected official representation through your existing governance role without diminishing the voices of those most directly served by the CSBG programs. With your approval, the members will complete required conflict of interest disclosure forms, participate in structured orientation within the next 2 months, begin their terms of service, and then attend the first board meeting, which we plan to schedule for October. There is no financial impact to the county, as all board members serve without compensation. It is my request that the board approve these appointments to these for these individuals serving their terms to the Spalding County Community Services Block Grant Advisory Board. I will answer any questions that you may have.
Yes, I have a question because, I've been calling around and trying to find out everybody on the Facebook page. What did you say Miss Maggie Baker's credentials were?
She is the Director of Operations for Veldsma and Sons. She represents the business community. She has also served as a chairperson for the Fayette Spalding Cooperative.
And she's a Spalding County resident?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I want to have, this is a big deal, really and truly. I don't mean to just kind of out of the clear blue. Ms. Gwynn, I'd like for you to be our representative on this. I've been turning to you a lot recently, but you understand what this is about, and I'd like for you to be our representative onto it.
I would love to do that, but I think that Reggie would be better.
Oh no, Reggie cannot take on
Reggie, I think that Reggie now as the board member, we're just a liaison, right? So I would be happy to help you so that you can.
We already got
All right. All right.
But like I don't.
I will just
I'll
add.
do it.
Oh, and Reggie, how about you
I used to be a
being,
nurse and still had to do it.
you be the alternate to
Okay,
get
I can
into
do
it.
that.
All right.
Here, Davis,
I mean,
if I
I
could.
appreciate you, thinking that I can do all this, but I'm just like, come on. But okay,
If I could add, there are only 2 required meetings per year for the CSBG
Okay.
Advisory Board. There may be additional committee meetings
you know I'll
within,
do
but
it.
there are only 2 required meetings per year for the CSBG Advisory Board.
And we have Dr. Burks there anyway, so to be able to.
So,
All right.
so yeah, I mean, I'm not a voting member. I'm just there to whatever, because they need to be able to
Keep on
vote.
track.
So can you just share with us real quick what we are already doing with CSBG so the public can know what it is that these folks will kind of be in charge of?
Yes, so CSBG, Community Service Block Grant, is meant to serve low-income residents across the county. So a large portion of the funds right now go to senior nutrition. Kelly was here, she mentioned, or in the past, she has had the summer programming. There's also funds going towards the backpack lunches. And so the funds have declined in recent years, and this is kind of a good thing because the low-income population of Spalding County is also declining. So we've received fewer funds, but essentially they'll be determining where those funds go to serve the low-income population of Spalding County.
I like that. Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Chairman, you voluntold me.
Thank you, I appreciate it. All right, do I have a motion to accept the entire board?
Motion to accept the recommended list as provided by our grants manager Celeste Berry, Lisa Fambro, Mackie Baker, Marcy Turbo, Dr. Marcy Turbo, and Cheryl Burks as board members, and Commissioner Flowers Taylor as liaison.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in, any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Thank you, Commissioner Flowers Taylor.
And thank you, Larry.
Absolutely.
Great job. You're doing a
Yes,
great job.
getting this done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 7, new business. Next on the agenda this evening is for us to consider approval of the FY26 GED testing contract for the Correctional Institute. Good evening, Warden.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm not gonna ask for any money, so that helps.
Oh, thank you.
Hey.
I have 2 items up for your, consideration this evening. One is an amendment to Dr. Hall's, contract to provide medical services for the CI. And the other is an MOU with the Georgia Department of Corrections concerning GED testing. And I'll start with Dr. Hall's amendment. No,
Nope, we're on the GED.
GED? Well, that's no problem.
Sorry.
This is basically a backup plan for us. Currently, Southern Crescent Technical College provides the instructor and services for our GED program. They also provide an instructor to come in and do the testing. Department of Corrections provides us vouchers for that actually pays for the test itself. And this is a backup plan for us in the event that Southern Crescent Technical College cannot, then we'll have an agreement with the Department of Corrections to provide the same services at no cost.
This is an annual requirement, basically, for us.
That's correct.
We do this every year.
That's correct.
Now, Warden, isn't it true that you guys, I often boast about you, so I don't want to be boasting wrong, but isn't it true you all won the award for for the GED program, most highest percentage, most thorough, what was?
This is part of it. That's part of the consideration is that the cognitive programs that we do, the on-the-job training, the programs we do with Central Georgia Tech, all of that, including case notes and case management and those kinds of things, it's all considered, and they take a score, a total score for each one of those items added up, and that's how we become the quarterly and annual facility of the year.
Super, thank you.
Facility of the year, though, right? That was the award? Was that what it was?
Yes, we've done that as well.
All right, Commissioner Flowers Taylor?
I can't brag.
Warden, I have a question about it. When inmates come in, do you require them to get a GED? I mean, this class is offered to everybody, right? But I'm
that
just
need it,
saying,
yes.
like sometimes when Judge Thacker, and I know maybe I've jumped out of one arena into the other. Sometimes when Judge Thacker has cases, he'll say that part of your, whatever it is that you've got to do is that you have to complete a GED. So I'm wondering,
They don't let you do that anymore. They got in trouble for doing it.
so people can't be required to complete a GED while they're serving their time.
There are circumstances where they can be required, but generally what we do is do an assessment of everybody that comes in, and we'll look at their scores to see where they test out on their GED.
Okay.
Or if they have a GED, some have college level classes as well. And based on their TPM, their max out date, and their educational level, we determine the need
Okay.
for that particular individual. So
So
those.
you assess what the need is, and if you see that there's some learning
That's correct.
disability
And-
issues, then you'll make that recommendation.
And it has some bearing on their parole eligibility and those kinds of things as well. So they don't have to participate, but it is better for them that if they do.
I think it just would be good to come out with something that you didn't go in with.
We
You know,
absolutely agree.
Something to get you started. Okay, I'm good.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Motion carries. All right. Next.
The second item is the amendment to the contract with Dr. Hall. We actually had these numbers a little bit earlier, so it was projected in our budget for this increase. So this is finalizing I think it's a 4% increase, and this will change starting in January when the population drops. I've already talked to Dr. Hall about that number, and we're ironing those numbers out. Right now, we're looking at probably that reduction will be around $92,000 a year for his services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion. Ms. Flowers Taylor.
Yes, I do have a question that in that resolution, that contract, it says that, when we decide that we are going to, well, we let them know that in January, the prison population is going to decrease and that we may reduce the cost of medical services. We are going to, may means it might happen or we could. They need to know for sure it is going to change. So I would like to just see that not be may change, shall change. Other than that, and also I would like for us to, since we do have time and that we are basically on a month-to-month contract, for this to come up, since it's nearly $500,000 for us to put this out for bid, since we're doing the same thing for legal services and for engineering services. It's been several years since we just put these medical services out for bid, so I think this would be a good opportunity to be able to do that again.
When's the next time that we rebid this?
We're on a tier bid cycle for all of our services, and we are at the time, starting in January for fiscal year 27 to rebid all of this. So
I don't believe
it's
that we
time.
bid out the last contract. I think he just came in to approve.
We bid.
Who responded?
Dr. Hall, he was the only response that we received during that bid.
Yeah.
We bid that.
I think
Across
we
the
gotta go
state.
outside of the scope. And that's something that we can discuss, but I think in due diligence, that we said that we've had the best experience financially and even in service-wise when we have started to bid out some services.
All right, so we bid it out.
We did.
Yes.
We did.
Okay.
Yes.
But my question is, this bid will go out the same as like, for our county attorneys, the 3 up in January, for the HR attorney, for all that kind of stuff.
That is correct. They all go up at the same time.
Just
For
making
us
sure that
to,
all the RFPs are going.
that is correct. Yes, sir.
So
All right.
that being said, I would like to make a motion to.
go.
It's already got a motion and a second.
Oh, okay then. Let me just be quiet so we can be done.
Okay. Now, hold it. What about the wording from may to shall?
Yeah, that was part of my motion.
Well, the contract says it's gonna go down, what'd you say, 90-something?
92 is what it's saying, but Ms. Gwynn's question was, do you want to, as a friendly amendment, do you want it to say shall instead of may? Is that correct?
If I may, the language of the contract, it states that the number of inmates may go down, but that the contract shall be amended if it were to go down.
But we're not saying, it's not saying it will be amended to cover the number of the inmates. We're talking about amended to cover the cost that we're paying.
So it states that it shall be amended to reflect the reduction in pay, is the language of the contract.
Okay, yeah, read that again. Where you telling me that? Tell
So
me
this
what
is
it
at the bottom of the first page. It's the parties here to acknowledge and agree that the number of inmates housed at the Spalding County Correctional Institute will be reduced as of January 2026, at which time the cost of providing medical service may be reduced. And
shall be reduced.
and this agreement shall be amended to reflect that reduction in
Shall
pay.
be reduced. That's my,
Okay.
I'll amend my motion to reflect shall.
Okay. We have a
Reggie.
motion and a
Reggie would have to second the
Okay, I second it
amended.
then.
Okay,
That was James and Reggie.
all right. Any more discussion?
No, sir.
All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Warden. At this time, we'll have the report from the county manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'll bear with me, I've got a few things that I would like to cover this evening. It might take a few minutes. First, work on Jackson Road by E.R. Snell continues, and we are awaiting the paving crew. Like most of the work, the rain has delayed this crew's arriving. We anticipate that we will receive the paving crew within the next week from E.R. Snell and begin the much anticipated work to repave Jackson Road. Please continue to give grace to the contractors who are working to improve this road for our community. They have done a significant amount of work on Jackson Road.
Mr. Chairman, I know you hate for me to interrupt you in the middle. Help me understand why it is that when the city of Griffin paves a road, if you have a driveway on the street, there's a certain amount of pavement that comes off the road so that you don't get just a drop off. I noticed that we don't do anything like that. What's going on with that?
Well, it depends on the height of the road and whether or not they mill down the concrete. There are roads across the county that they do feather that asphalt into the drives. And then there are some that they don't because there is a little bit of a lip. And to answer your question,
So from their point, it's money. But from our point, is that a requirement that we have? Because the reason I say that is out on Bucksnort Road, if you're coming west on Bucksnort Road, there is a place right after you turn the curve, like coming from the, you know what I'm talking about.
From Lamar County?
Yeah. You turn the curve and then you go on the straight part of Bucksnort. That's where a truck went off. And the shoulder is like, here's the end of the road and then here's the ditch. So there's no leeway on the shoulder. So there's no shoulder is what I'm saying. But if you pave up in front of my house, then the hump that you have from me pulling up into the yard and hitting that pavement every time I drive my truck or my car is going to tear the pavement up. So I rode through the county and I see that in places we've kind of smoothed that driveway out into whatever. We just need to set a standard, something that's uniform, because I think we're opening ourselves up for those areas to tear up quicker, because you're hitting them at full force, and then instead of having a smooth incline to come out of your driveway or off your road with. Okay, so I already said that. Go ahead and finish your stuff. I just wanted to get that out.
thank you very much. I'll make note of that. The Aquatic Center will be closed tomorrow until 2 p.m. for a deep cleaning. So we are going to thoroughly clean the facility tomorrow. So please be aware that the center will not be open in the morning. It's going to be closed until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry. During the Leisure Services meeting, we had a very long conversation about the fact that we have had one issue within the first 6 months where the humidity fixing part of the aquatic center was not working. We are just over a year, and now we have that same problem. That was a brand new facility. We should not be paying for this, first of all. So I want to know, where's the guarantee? Because y'all came up with a design. This is a piece of equipment that you said would keep the humidity level in this huge room with water in the bottom, and it hasn't worked. So if we've had these kind of problems, 2 major incidences in the first year, we can expect that this is going to be a problem going forward. It's not what we planned for in our M&O. So I want to know what steps that we have taken to go back and get the manufacturer or the designers to fix this. we're in the guarantee phase. And we already see that there's a problem. This is not gonna be as far as I'm concerned, this should not be a 20-year problem, not something we're addressing. So my answer to you is, what can we do? What have we done? And who's gonna fix this? Because it's clearly a problem.
Yes, ma'am. I can assure you that staff is working right now on all of the warranties across the entire aquatic center facility to make sure that we are on top of each one of those items that you just listed. You've got high humidity and a high chlorine content in that facility does create some challenges for an indoor pool, but they should not be at our expense for how this facility was designed. So your staff is working that, and we will answer that question in the next few months, because it might take a few weeks for us to get the answer for all those warranties.
Okay, I promise you, I'm not gonna ask you any more questions. I'm gonna let you finish.
No worries. No worries.
Go ahead. I'm done. That was the two things I had. I'm zipping it.
Ms. Tanya, would you please go to the next slide? Thank you. Understanding property value assessments in Georgia counties. In Georgia, property taxation is based on the principle of ad valorem, meaning taxes are levied according to the value of the property. Each county is responsible for assessing property values through its Board of Tax Assessors, which operates under guidelines established by state law. County boards of tax assessors are appointed by local governing authorities, but they are tasked with determining the fair market value of real and personal property. These boards employ certified appraisers who use standardized methods to ensure consistency and fairness in valuations. Georgia law requires that property be assessed at 40% of its fair market value. Fair market value is defined as the amount of that a knowledgeable buyer would pay and a willing seller would accept in an open market transaction. The county and the state have access to the sales data, and our assessors constantly undergo training and scrutiny and are checked no less than annually on their processes and procedures for appraising property value. Appraisers use a combination of cost, market, and income approaches to determine value supported by data from recent sales, construction cost, and property income potential. Once assessments are finalized, counties issue notices of assessment to property owners if a property owner disagrees with the valuation. They may file an appeal with the County Board of Equalization, request a hearing officer, or pursue arbitration. The Georgia Department of Revenue reviews each county's tax digest to ensure assessments are uniform and comply with state standards. Statistical measures such as the median sales ratio and coefficient of dispersion are used to evaluate the accuracy and equity of assessments. If counties do not meet these standards, they are required to make corrections before the digest is approved. All that said, the Board of Commissioners do not set the valuations of our homes, and the valuations are reviewed by the Georgia Department of Revenue and the Department of Audits. The 2024 preliminary sales ratio study for Spalding County that you see here on the screen was prepared by the Georgia Department of Audits and Accounts. It provides an analysis of property tax assessment in relation to actual sales and appraisals from 2023 to 2024. The study is conducted annually to ensure that property values used for tax purposes are fair and equitable. The report matches sales and appraisal values from 23 to 24 from the County Tax Digest, and it calculates the sales ratio. This relationship between the assessed values and market values for Spalding County, the overall equalized ratio was found to be 39.26%. That's what's highlighted there on the screen, circled in red and yellow, which is close to the overall equalized ratio of 40% of the fair market value, but it is under the 40% mark. The study included 1,043 samples from across our county from all areas of our county, and the analysis also includes statistical measures like the coefficient of dispersion, as I said earlier, and the piece related to differential analysis. These are both very technical terms, but in short, the analysis serves to evaluate the uniformity and fairness of assessments across different property types. The results indicate that Spalding County assessments are generally in line with state requirements through the report, which allows for appeals or hearings through our Board of Equalization. This study confirms that Spalding County's property tax assessments for '24 are largely consistent with market values and state standards. We have a Board of Commissioners zoning public hearing meeting next week, and that schedule affords us the opportunity to set the millage rate. But I want to highlight something just for a second. The equalized ratio, as shown on the screen from the Department of Audits, shows that we are 39.26%. So we are almost 0.8% under what the 40% mark is. So we are not valuing the properties at the high end of the valuation. The Board of Equalization, the Board of Appraisers are evaluating our properties below that 40% mark, but we're within the guidelines that affords us the opportunity to charge our utilities at the 40% mark for the revenue. So I just want to say thank you to the Board of Appraisers. I want to say thank you to our tax assessor's office for doing a great job in getting us into a position where we don't have to file for an extension. We don't have to file for an appeal because we fell below the mark that we have for the last few years. And just for our community's understanding from my vantage point, I'd like to share with you that for the last 2 years, your Board of Commissioners, your Board of Appraisers have fought very hard in the background to make sure that that the valuations were on the low side but fair, and we were able to send out our tax bills to meet the revenue requirements to satisfy the services that our community has asked us to do. I also want to highlight, if you will go to the next slide, please, ma'am, that during the Thursday evening, August 28th meeting for the Board of Commissioners zoning public hearing meeting, staff is presenting the 2025 tax digest and 5-year history of our levy. Staff's recommendation this year is for the Board of Commissioners to accept the full rollback. Each year, counties establish a millage rate to determine the amount of property tax revenue needed to fund essential local services, including public service, infrastructure, and community programs. The millage rate is the amount of tax levied per $1,000 of assessed property value and is set by the county's governing body based on the budgetary requirements of the upcoming year. If you remember, back in April, we set our expenditure budget. We now have the challenge of making sure that our expenditure budget and our revenue budget are equal and balanced. After considering other sources of revenue, the millage rate is calculated to ensure the county can meet its financial obligations and maintain services for residents. For '25, the Spalding County Board of Commissioners is taking a significant step by working to adopt the full rollback millage rate for the first time in more than 2 decades. The rollback rate is designed to prevent the county from collecting more property tax revenue than the previous year, despite increases in property values. By accepting the full rollback, the board is lowering the tax rate to offset rising assessments rather than increasing the overall tax burden on property owners. This action will result in the lowest county millage rate in the past 10 years, providing meaningful tax relief to residents and reflecting a commitment to fiscal responsibility. The decision to move forward with the rollback rate marks a notable change in local tax policy that this board has put into play for both economic conditions and our community priorities. The rollback rate is the millage rate that would generate the same total of property tax revenue as the previous year, as I stated earlier. And I just want to highlight the fact that for as long as the data affords us the opportunity to look back, which is the 20 years that you're seeing on the top of the screen for the table presented, This will be the first time in our data set that we can find where the rollback, the full rollback, was afforded for Spalding County. So I just want to say thank you to the Board of Commissioners for the policies that you put into play to get us into a position where we can make this recommendation for your consideration. Mr. Chair, that's all I have for this evening.
Good job.
That is a
Good
great job. I'm telling you, 20 years, man, that's good. All right, Deputy County Manager,
No, sir. I'll defer my time till next time.
okay. Commissioner Watts?
Yes, I had a chance to go out to the Animal Control Center, and I want to just say Miss Vicky is doing a great job, and I just want her to continue doing what she's doing, and that she do have our full support.
Commissioner Bolden?
And I'm gonna follow up with the same thing. I fully support our animal control. Think they're doing a great job. The state thinks we're doing a great job. They passed them with flying colors. I'm tired of this half empty, half full argument. It's all based on opinions. They have their opinion. We have our opinions, and my opinion won't change. I mean, they can stand up here and hoot and holler and all they want to, and it's not gonna change. The only thing I agreed with what was said tonight was from the only citizen of Spalding County, and that was Miss Sims. She said it's the community's responsibility to control these animals. And frankly, I'm just tired of hearing about it. So, County Manager, how many employees have we lost? I mean, I'm just reading through some stuff.
I think we've lost at least 3.
Just from the animal shelter alone, yes, sir, we've lost 3.
So when does this not become harassment? The people continue, because I mean, I've seen it's detrimental. I mean, it's killing the morale. I mean, these people actually out here trying to do work, and like, again, it's based on opinions. This side has their opinion, this side has their opinion, and there's the animal shelter right in the middle.
Yes, sir, we've lost 3 in just the last 6 to 8 weeks,
Okay.
just from the animal shelter.
And just as an aside, today we have 39 cats or kittens in the facility, 107 dogs or puppies, for a total of 146. Just for July, we took in 78. Of those, 54 were adopted, 3 were returned to the owner, 19 were placed with rescues, 10 were euthanized, and 8 of those animals were found DOA. So we do have the statistics that we're looking at on a regular basis to make sure that our facility is operating as best it can, because I don't think that our Board of Commissioners wants to move to a full kill shelter. I think the policy that you guys have directed staff is that we would be a limited kill facility to take care of our animals in our community, and we are doing it as best we can.
And also bear in mind, 2 weeks ago, at the last commissioners meeting, I reported that the Department of Ag gave us a satisfactory report for the animal shelter for Spalding County as well.
And I heard mention of a open record for policies and stuff. State law requires you to have written permission from the authority. That would be our animal control. And if these people are going on abandoned properties without permission to trap these animals, I think they're breaking the law. So, I mean, two wrongs don't make a right. So, I mean, so these people are just as guilty. I applaud them for getting out here and wanting to help the animals, but you got just as much problems in Butts County, Fayette County, Henry County, Pike County. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, this is not going to solve it. And County Attorney,
David?
definitely lied to you. We're going to be here all night long.
Okay,
I'll be sure to take that up with her.
okay. Commissioner Flowers Taylor? Vice Chair?
I'll jump on the animal control bandwagon. We really have a fantastic animal control staff. Our Miss Vicky is just fantastic, and it's just sad when former employees come in and just start trouble. They're not targeting the kill shelters in Lamar. They're not targeting any other ones that have all the same problems. You go to Fulton County and they're still having all these same problems. We're only required to take in vicious animals, and we're going above and beyond, and then above and beyond, and then above and beyond. And we have a fantastic staff who does a fantastic job at it. Do we want to do more? Yes, but everything costs money. And to have folks come in that are just upset that it ain't them anymore. That's just sour grapes to me. To talk about taxes, it's not that I want this to be very clear. I want this thought to come out completely before anybody jumps on me. It's not that I'm against the rollback rate, but have we thought about, instead of doing the full rollback rate, increasing the local homestead exemption so that we can more of that tax reduction goes to homeowners as opposed to an across-the-board millage cut. So a millage rate cut means the companies, the Walmarts, the corporations, the businesses, like mine, like Reggie's, also get a reduction. But when 94% of our tax income comes from residents, I think the swing should be focused on residential tax reduction, which a millage rate would do, but that would be diluted by reducing it with everybody. And not that I'm against any way I can take lower taxes, I'm going to do it. But if we did it instead as an increase in Spalding County's homestead exemption, the homeowners would see a greater net reduction in taxes. Is that not correct? So again, can we? I'm not saying that we should. Can we look into what the numbers of that would be?
Absolutely.
Because I'd like to compare apples to apples there. I want to give a big shout out here in the end. We have some fantastic locals who have spent a fantastic amount of money renovating an old hotel here in downtown Griffin, the historic Griffin Hotel. If you haven't gone to visit it, I'm giving them a shout out for a specific reason I'll get to, but even their lobby is fantastic. My wife and I, even though we live here in town, we're the first people to stay there just to support a local business. Fantastic. They've spent a bunch of their money. All the money that you spend there stays here in town. And my point that I'm trying to get to is they support locals. They're the host hotel this year for the Veterans Clay Shoot that benefits the Veteran Affairs. And what that money is going to is to help homeless veterans here in Spalding County. So anything we can do to support a very large hotel with conference space here in downtown Griffin that exists, that is owned completely locally, we should be doing. So go take a look out there. It's the building that is Slices that's above, that and the burger bar there. And I guess I will once again poke Dr. Ledbetter that I think the household garbage collection centers and their schedule should be revised so that the two main ones are open 4 days a week. All the other ones are open that Wednesday when the rest of them are closed. That way, all of them will be open at least 1 day a week. I'm going to keep poking that until that's it.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
That's it.
First, I'd like to say welcome to the new editor of the Griffin Daily News. It's always nice to have. It's good to have you here, and a big smile on Larry's face has continued on with him. Secondly, August 28th is the vote we're going to make on the millage rate. It'll be open to the public to be able to listen to it. This is a big deal. This is 20 years of work for us to be able to do this for the first time. Great effort by the board and by Dr. Ledbetter and the deputy county manager, sometimes known as the CFO, to get this where we can do it. Appreciate it. So everybody understands we started this in January and ask that the staff come up with a position to be able to do this. There was some belt tightening that people don't like, but we were able to do this, and this is a great news story all the way around. I want to take a second to, I know that commissioner meetings are usually about roads, budgets, and policies, but tonight I want to speak as a fellow citizen who cares deeply about every single life in our wonderful county. I want to talk about something that's far more personal, the health and well-being of people in our community, specifically about the heartbreaking number of lives that we've lost this year to suicides. Today we face a quiet crisis, one that is too often hidden behind smiles, behind silence, behind closed doors. Suicide right now is claiming too many of our loved ones, our sons, our daughters, parents, co-workers, neighbors, and friends. Every life lost is a heartbreak that ripples through the families and across our community. But let me be clear, suicides is preventable. There is hope and there is help. We all have to play a role by listening, by reaching out, by making it safe for others to speak openly about their mental health without shame or fear. It starts with simple things: asking how someone is, really, checking in on a friend, encouraging someone to seek help, or even to just be present. We are working to expand access to mental health services within and increase public education, to train more people to recognize the warning signs, but we can't do it without the citizens. We are struggling. Please know that you are not alone. If you are struggling, please know that you are not alone. Please do not hesitate to call 988, our crisis hotline. We know that you are valued, you are needed, and there is help available. If you know someone who is willing and may be hurting, reach out. One conversation can save a life. Let us stand together as a county that chooses compassion over silence, support over stigma, and life over loss. This is so bad in our county that we have already surpassed last year's total of suicides. This is not something that is just an issue for us. This is taking our folks. In less than a month ago, we had 3 suicides in one weekend. This covers all types of people. We are not just talking about young or old. We're not talking about racial. We're not talking about ethnic. We're talking about across the board. We're seeing everyone, people committing suicide. We have got to stop it. We've got to stand up. When you see a friend hurting, please take the time to be able to go and do that. On 15 September, I've asked the state's Office of Suicide Prevention to come down and talk to us about some ideas. I hope everybody will pay attention and be able to do that. Just one second. At this time, we will now enter executive session for the following purpose: to conduct and execute session for the purpose of discussion and authorization of negotiations related to the acquisition, sale, disposal, or lease of real property as permitted by OCGA 5014-3B1B, where public discussion could adversely affect our county position. Do I have a motion?
Motion to go into closed session for.
Do I have a second?
For the further
For the
purposes.
purpose stated.
For the stated purpose? Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. We're in executive session. We will be back. Okay,
Motion to come out of executive.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to allow staff and the attorneys to execute a contract for the purchase of 115 North Sixth Street in the amount of $475,000, subject to an appraisal and a 90-day due diligence period.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Yay.
Thank you. Hang in there, guy. We appreciate what you're doing. Welcome back. I'm glad you're safe.
Did you go to or something con?
Even worse. Even worse. No, this was a 9-day fully immersive medieval reenactment.
You tired yet?
Oh, we had a 4,000 person battle on Saturday. My legs are still. I was on our cannon.
Take this to Stephanie.
Go 2 power shoot balls like this. But you have there's all these weight requirements and it's like a chariot.
And you were drooling. You were
Oh,
drooling.
it was so fun. We're out there with steel helmets on and arm. Boom.
Yeah.
Stephanie will be back.
Two-story building right there.
Next to the chicken place.
Behind the chicken.
So you can just email it to her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Across the street from the historic city hall.
Is it fixed? It did? Okay. No, I was just making sure it got fixed. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So
You got your computer.
we don't have a choice but to demolish the interior of it because the roof is just trashed and the interior is bad. And then we're gonna rebuild it.
I guess I'm not interested.
Not the whole building.
Just
inside.
You too. I look forward to seeing you, girl. Don't let,
It's gonna
let
be a
him
good
work you
space.
too hard.
yes.
He's a good one. He's a good one. We didn't want to gross you out too bad tonight, so we were on our best behavior. Eric, don't you say anything. So, look at how good Ryan did.
God, I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Look at me to my how good Ryan did.
Yeah. And we're losing
Like I
people
never
right
say
now.
bad stuff.
It should.
All right, y'all, be
Mouth
good.
hang open. Can't imagine. So, thank you. I'm sorry you had to go through that. See,
Bye. All right.
It's right across from the training
I got to read it good too. I can't hardly read. I read it.
on Carver Road.
no, I think it's 4.
Yes. I was looking at the map, and it's like kind of a weird area.
And it is true. How it used to work is we divided the districts in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
So the state said, hey, we don't want one person on one side of the street to be in one district. So we'll divide it so that the next row back. Well, the next row back, and sometimes is a long distance, and over here it's a real short distance to be able to, so it gets all screwed up.
I get so many nasty grams.
God bless. Thank you.
I told, I went out there myself.